Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. Red states, blue states, do they really exist? And can the left and right ever get along on anything? Today presents some interesting situations. You wouldn't think you could get two more polar opposites on the rundown today. George Harris, state chairman of the Nevada Republican Liberty Caucus, and Andy Barbano, editor of NevadaLabor.org. And coming up on the Power Pundit panel today, Wayne Frediani, Chris Wicker, and Dick Gamak. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
If you think Wells Fargo is only checking accounts, you're not seeing the whole picture. Online brokerage, mutual funds, mortgages, and home equity accounts. So get more than free checking and start reaching your goals today. Now you get the picture. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years.
When you need a new employee, how can you be sure who you're really hiring? A background investigation by Employer Links will uncover criminal records, verify the applicant's education, check their credit history and Social Security verification. An investigation will research professional licenses and driver's licenses and let you know why they're unemployed. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
It's the next best thing to having your own wine cellar. Come to the Bonanza Casino for a first in fine dining, reasonably priced wines. When you dine at Cactus Creek Southwestern Steakhouse, you can also enjoy a fine bottle of wine at just about the same price you'd pay at the Vineyard, Silver Oak, Robert Mondavi, Rombauer, Cakebread, Jordan, and Duckhorn, just to name a few. And at the lowest prices of any restaurant or casino in Northern Nevada. And remember, all fine wines are not in wine cellars. They're in the Cactus Creek at the Bonanza Casino, where locals come to play.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, I wanted to have a discussion today. All through the election and continuing on now, we keep hearing about the red and the blue states and how America is so divided. So I thought I'd bring in a couple of people and we'll tackle the issue from the right and the left. George Harris is here. He's the state chairman of the Nevada Republican Liberty Caucus, and Andy Barbano, editor of NevadaLabor.com. First of all, George, is it true we're now completely divided in this country into red and blue states?
I've always thought that that's nonsense. I think it's just different ideals. I think that this election, was about people, during wartime. I mean, if you go back and look through history, there's not a big flavor to change horses when you're in the middle of a war. And whether you agree with the war or not, the economy's phenomenal right now. It's going to continue to be phenomenal. A lot of the left who had a lot of criticisms about cabinet members. I mean, listen, basically the day after the guy got reelected, he took the broom out and started cleaning out the cabinet. So I think we should wait a couple more months. But I don't think the country's that evenly divided. I just don't.
Well, it's divided because of the great divider, George W. Bush, and he's done a very good job of renovating and keeping in effect the Nixon Southern strategy to use wedge issues to make people hate each other. But I'll agree with George to a certain degree that we're not as divided as we may seem. If the Democrats had fielded a better candidate who didn't concede the election, he went in the hole in the Grand Canyon when he took Bush's bait and Bush was able to pose the key question, would you have voted now knowing what you know for the Iraq War? Kerry said yes, and at that point the election was pretty much over because the principal issue was taken away. And so if you've got two guys that agree we should have gone to war in Iraq, why change horses? And I thought that was a fatal mistake.
Well, there is one thing you have to look at this one thing. You know, the Democrats announced yesterday on national TV that they were going to start a Democratic pro-life coalition. So there's a whole bunch of Democrats that want to pull that party to the middle, that are so petrified by the far left part of the party. And there's a whole bunch of labor guys, which, you know, he represents, that are just really tired of the far left agenda and want to be in the middle. So I think we have more in common, and I think than we do separately. And I'm looking forward to the next 4 years. I'm glad this economy's back up. It's a cyclical matter.
Okay, I'll let you go past on that one. The economy is back up, but the underpinnings of the economy are not very good. These deficits are massive, and they're not going away anytime soon.
Communist China owns our debt.
Well, the debt is the debt can be fixed. It's going to be fixed, and
how?
Well, because hopefully, as the president said when he did all these massive tax cuts, and everybody thought, oh, the whole world was going to end, and the Democrats went insane and said, oh my God, you're squandering our children's future. It lit the economy. The economy's back up, and the more commerce you have, and the more stuff you have, the more tax revenue you have. And I've got a pretty optimistic outlook. I really am looking forward to what's going to happen over the next 4 years.
That assumes we're going to grow our way out of it, and that's the old and pretty lame and discredited excuse. The elements are roughly the same now as you had in 1965 as we deepened our involvement in Vietnam. We have the benefit now of 50 years, 60 years of economic research and experience that John Maynard Keynes was pretty much correct. You can prime the pump in times of depression or recession, and government can play a role. But we've exhausted all of the things that government can do. We're in huge deficits now, which are the remedy to recession and depression. Plus you have the inflationary and recessionary effects of an elongated war that we didn't have to get into. And that is what gave us the stagflation of the 1970s, was the humongous amount of money we poured into the Vietnam War. It killed the U.S. economy, which peaked in 1968 and has never been back since.
Last word on this topic.
Last word on topic is that's just total nonsense. You know, we're in a world of technological advancements. Things aren't like they were in the 60s and the 70s. And I say let's have an agreement to come back here 4 years from now so I can gloat over how well everything's going.
You know, one of the things that has struck me is that the Republican publicity machine has been so much more successful that it has actually beaten the Democrats down. That the divisions, I agree with you, I don't think the divisions are that great, but the Republican Party has made them appear that great. They have appeared that they have this huge victory, when in fact the election was decided with 125,000 people in Ohio, and a difference of only, because it's not a huge number in a country of 300 million people, a 3 million person difference in the popular vote.
Well, go ahead. I'll let you.
Well, going back to what you originally said, there's room for a new political party in this country.
Never going to happen.
Made up of disaffected Republicans who are ticked off about the deficit and the erosion of civil liberties, the disaffected Democratic left, labor, and a lot of other, and Greens and environmentalists. There is room for that party because, as Harry Truman once said, you give people a choice between two conservatives, they'll always vote for the real thing. John Kerry and Bill Clinton both adopted this strategy of moving toward the middle. To his credit, John Kerry wouldn't go as far as Clinton did, and that's why he lost.
See, but I guess I fundamentally disagree with you because, you know, the thing here and the Democrats don't want to admit it, their own guys, labor guys and ladies, labor, the backbone of America, are the ones who made this decision. Because they said the party is just, listen, the party was, it's easy for us to be a great PR machine when the other side's infighting is just they're imploding on each other. I mean, we had some very good tactical moves when we did some PR stuff, but a majority of it was they were crushing on each other, and they were trying to sell ideas to people, working people that were out paying the bills to say, this guy's going to be your savior. And, they're looking at going, no, this guy's just another rich guy.
They perpetrated the fraud that the big bad Kerry is going to come and take your gun away and demean your manhood. Thomas Frank, who
he was out duck hunting just a week before.
That was ridiculous. That made him look like a fool. He was a fool for that. Thomas Frank, the author of What's the Matter with Kansas, hit the nail on the head that the GOP media machine has been able to convince middle America and a lot of working people that the way to vent your anger at what Wall Street is doing to you, cutting your pay, moving your job overseas, making sure you don't have health care. How do you express your anger? Voting for the party of Wall Street. And they've been able to do that to a fare thee well. And if people are that stupid, they deserve what they get.
Then we're really good. But see, the thing is, the point is people aren't that stupid. Okay, what people are is people are very smart. And technology has moved in. And I hate to tell you this, but the days of factory working jobs are gone, and it's our responsibility to get everybody up off their duffs and say, look, we're in a computer age, we're in this new paradigm, and you have to prepare yourself for it. And people are finally getting that message. They're finally understanding, the world's leaving me if I don't learn how to do this.
It ain't paradigm, it's pay a dime, and your job's been emailed to China.
Okay, we're out of time on this segment. We'll be right back with George Harris and Andy Barbano on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Sunbelt Communication.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Ken Dillon, owner of Van Dyne Roofing, can get it fixed with his eyes closed.
Something spectacular has taken wing not far from Reno or Lake Tahoe, and never far from your mind. An escape of fine dining and legendary golf. Introducing the resort at Red Hawk. And at the center of it all, we've feathered our nest with new villas that have elevated Red Hawk to the status of a premier resort. The Resort at Red Hawk, a beautiful new arrival in northern Nevada.
It's America's largest historical district, and it's fun for the entire family. Virginia City is where the West comes alive every day, from train rides to gunslingers. Your gang can explore mines and interesting museums, visit historic saloons, and do some great shopping. Virginia City is the ultimate in family entertainment, and it's very affordable. Come up and stay overnight in our hotels, motels, and RV park. Virginia City, the Wild West at its best.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
You bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And we're getting a discussion here from the right and the left here on various issues. We've gone national, now we're going to go local. Let's talk about property taxes. George, this is starting to look very messy.
Well, it is messy. First of all, these property tax caps, we're going to cap property tax. We're going to cap ourselves into bankruptcy. You know, in 12 years, you can double property tax with property tax caps. We don't need that. What we need to do is just use simple math. It's not rocket science. Take the ratio, which is this 35% is what they use now, to value your home. If they say your value of your house is $300,000, fine. Leave the government mills where they are, you know, how much they're charging. Take that 35% ratio and reduce it to 15, 11%. Everybody's property value goes up. and taxes don't go up. Let's not give
This is
local...
kind of like the Review Journal editorial.
Well, it's not Review Journal editorial. I've been singing this for almost 3 months, as you know, and this is not rocket science. And I'm saying don't give these local governments an egregious windfall to waste more money. I don't want working families having to pay twice the amount of money in property tax to then come back and not get any advanced services, because they won't, because municipalities inherently waste money like crazy.
Well, I must bring back the ghost of my old friend and former Republican, the late Orland T. Outland, who made a point many years ago that people live in housing commensurate with their income. And the taxes they pay on that property are therefore roughly progressive taxes. The property tax is by its very nature a progressive tax. I don't think you'll find very many people living in a one-bedroom studio if they could afford a 40,000 square foot mansion.
Yeah, but what about the people who live in houses who have, scraped to get into their house, and they are just making it by on making their house payments and their taxes, and suddenly there's because the property values are escalating so quickly that they're in danger of having to sell their house and move somewhere because they can't pay the taxes. If there's a way to get around it, and it's George's answer, I think, is very common sense.
What he's talking about when he talks about the ratio, you're talking about market value versus assessed value.
Correct.
Market value is what your house is worth. Let's say your house is worth $100,000 on the market. You're taxed on 35% of that value right now. And however state and local government decide to split that revenue, but you're only taxed on 35% of your house, what's deemed to be your house's market value. But going back to what I said about progressive taxation, Nevada has the most regressive taxes in the country. I think we may be slightly more progressive than Mississippi, but not much. Regressive meaning a sales tax is the best example. Sales tax takes a bigger percentage of your income, the lower that your income is, because everybody has to pay the same sales tax rate. So if you want to play with something like the property tax rate or the assessed valuation rate, it has to be made progressive, and you have to allow for people's actual incomes. And at that point, you're enforcing a backdoor income tax on property.
I really disagree. What we have to do is wake up in this state and understand we only have 2 million people. We now have a surplus, they announced yesterday, of $320 million. The state they are overtaxing. They are overtaxing the people. They are taking money. I want to put that money back into private families' hands. And I will tell you that we are talking about all the people he represents: labor, seniors. Seniors don't tend to, they bought that home and that's the house where they expect to live the rest of their life. They don't tend to say, well, now my house is going to be worth ridiculous figures. In Clark County, do you know some of the property values went up 50%, 70%, 80%. And these seniors are petrified. And I'm telling you something right now. The so-called California thought process or capping taxes is absolutely a terrible idea.
Let me ask you one quick question here. We've got about 15 seconds apiece here for you. The schools are concerned about the property taxes being capped because of the great need we have, because of the people moving here in tremendous numbers. We need more schools. How do we solve that portion of the problem?
Well, there's no problem because their money's not going to change. And what we need to do is, we do not have an income problem in the state. We have a spending problem, and the schools are part of the spending problem. They've got the best equipment, the best of everything, but we can't give teachers.
If you're a school in a wealthy area,
we can't give teachers, raises. We need to start going back. We need to get some CEOs to sit down and look at how this stuff is going on and say, you're spending your money wrong here, you're doing it wrong here. Move some of these asset allocations around, give teachers some raises, and that's how we're going to resolve this problem, not by constantly saying we're going to raise taxes.
Last 15 seconds.
George, you want to have your cake and eat it too. You're saying all we need to do is to reshuffle the deck and it'll be fine, when Nevada's deck only has about 36 cards in it. It doesn't work that way. You've got to make for progressivity in the system, and since the Nevada Constitution says all taxes must be assessed equally, you do something to cut residential rates, you're giving private private business and the casino industry a huge windfall.
Okay, we're out of time. We'd love to have you guys come back and debate some more on other topics. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers with the pundits after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
When you need a new employee, how can you be sure who you're really hiring? A background investigation by Employer Links will uncover criminal records, verify the applicant's education, check their credit history and Social Security verification. An investigation will research professional licenses and driver's licenses and let you know why they're unemployed. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
Are you ready to experience Reno's ultimate lobster buffet? Then bring your appetite to the El Dorado, where we're serving a half pound of slipper lobster tail for just $5 with the purchase of a dinner buffet. Catch it every night of the week. Are you in?
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, first of all, I have to say that Andy Barbano's website is nevadalabor.com, not .org. Sorry about that, Andy. And now to introduce our Power Pundit panel for today, Dick Gamak, Washoe County District Attorney, Wayne Frediani, Nevada Franchised Auto Dealers Association, and Chris Wicker, Chairman of the Washoe County Democratic Party. Okay, Saturday came down. Kathy Augustine censured. Was that the right decision, Dick?
I get kind of caught here. I don't agree with the decision, but
why?
The process. I think we just took another blow at the whole process, at the ethics and politics and what people are and aren't supposed to do. I think that from the information I heard, from what I heard presented, and from the information we talked about, that it should have been more than what it was, but a decision was made by the Senate. I think the process that we have here really needs to be looked at if we're ever going to do impeachment again. The senators were, and they weren't breaking any rules or anything else, and I'm not saying that at all, but the senators were just openly discussing the case during the presentation of the case. They were discussing it out in the hallways. There were senators meeting with the parties, particularly defense counsel, during the presentation of the information. Guidance was being given back and forth. There were a lot of things going on that really, this is the jury. I mean, they shouldn't have been happening, but it's within their rules and stuff. So I think the whole process needs to be looked at if they're ever going to use it again here.
Chris, was it being held in the right location? Shouldn't it have been in court rather than in the Senate?
No, I think with an impeachment, you need to have it in the legislative body. But I tend to agree that this whole process started out like we were going to really send a message for ethics in government. But what happened is sent all the wrong messages. What about those employees that came forward and were pretty much disregarded? Now, it's always dangerous to try to rehash a proceeding when you haven't sat through and listened to all the evidence. But I think it was quite telling that they did not present one witness who had something good to say about Kathy Augustine. The prosecutor had loads of corroborating written material, and yet she gets off with a slap at the wrist, and these employees that came forward really got the message that it's not worthwhile. I think it was a terrible thing that happened.
I think also, Sam, that had it been tried in a criminal court proceeding, that the outcome could have possibly been different. I think it's unfortunate that here again we had a special session, taxpayer dollars, and I'm not sure what we accomplished. I'm not sure that it accomplished what they wanted to do, and I agree with Chris. I mean, what kind of messages we send to the people? Not casting judgment on Kathy, but I don't know that the message has been sent that public servants need to be more alert.
Okay, now your office, Dick, handled the prosecution side here. Did you have enough time?
We went down. I hate, I'll take things when they belong to me, but we weren't even really the prosecution. We went down and presented the case to the Senate. We had 2.5 weeks beforehand. I put Dan on it full time. He asked for one of our chief investigators, Cindy, and she went on it full time for the 2.5 weeks. They would have liked to have seen some more time, but I don't think it would have made any difference in the end anyway, in the outcome. So we were fine. We went down, presented it. We had no real stake in it.
So bottom line is whistleblower beware.
Well, I think so, and I think I was kind of sad to see that it was a substantially party line vote in the Senate on the the matter that she was convicted on. There was some crossover, but for the most part, it was a party line vote. After you had a very strong bipartisanship in the Assembly, and you had the Republican Attorney General sending it down. So I was very disappointed to see that.
Do you think you're going to see a slew of resignations coming out of that office?
I have no idea, but I would say that there again, I think it gets back a government to ethics, what is right, what is wrong. I think people in those offices know what is right and what is wrong, and ethics need to count. I think it's unfortunate, again, that we ended up spending a lot of taxpayer dollars, and I'm not sure that the message really still got out.
Well, who's going to want to go to work at that office now? I mean, it sounded like a one step away from hell. Who's going to want to go to work there?
Senator Reid, changing the subject here, was on Meet the Press yesterday. I thought he accounted for himself very well. A little nervous there, but got through everything. And one of his comments was he referred to Clarence Thomas as an embarrassment as a High Court justice, but said that even though he didn't agree with Antonin Scalia, that he would be more accepting of him as Chief Justice if that were to come about. Did that surprise you?
No. Well, it's somewhat surprising about Anton Scalia, but I think Scalia is very much a legal scholar in the sense of he's extremely conservative, and I think he's way too far to the right, but he is scholarly. I think Clarence Thomas is an embarrassment. They were just reporting on the news a death penalty case that was that the United States Supreme Court is going to hear, and it was a terrible case of discrimination in Texas, but Clarence Thomas was the lone dissenting justice on that, and you see that a lot. And I've heard people say that he doesn't say anything during the court hearings.
Let me try to get everybody else in. We have about 20 seconds apiece, Dick.
I'll let, that's the Supreme Court back at the U.S. I'll let them handle their issues and who's going to be Chief Justice there. I don't think that has a big impact on the court anyway, in the way it operates.
Really? Okay.
Oh, I disagree. But
I think I would disagree too. Wayne, last word.
I think Senator Reid is going to reach out. I mean, I saw a little bit of the Meet the Press yesterday, and I think there's going to be an effort on his part to bring the judges before the Senate, and I think you're going to see a more moderate view with Senator Reid.
I liked his idea of the president sending names to Senator Reid prior to them being announced, and then that way, that worked apparently with Clinton and Orrin Hatch, and that might be a great way to not have a big battle. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
It's America's largest historical district, and it's fun for the entire family. Virginia City is where the West comes alive every day, from train rides to gunslingers. Your gang can explore mines and interesting museums, visit historic saloons, and do some great shopping. Virginia City is the ultimate in family entertainment, and it's very affordable. Come up and stay overnight in our hotels, motels, and RV park. Virginia City, the Wild West at its best.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Ken Dillon, owner of Van Dyne Roofing, can get it fixed with his eyes closed.
Coming up on tomorrow's program, Aaron Neff, lead political reporter for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, and Clay Jenkinson, presidential historian. We'll see you then.